Have you ever stubbed your toe on the same thing like twice?
Yes.
Like back to back?
Mm-hmm.
Like
bed frames are, but what if I get thirsty? Give me my water bottle.
Your water bottle is in the way.
Yeah, it's right in the middle of the camera. I'll put it back down here. But if I get thirsty, then I'm doomed.
Anyway, answer the question.
Yeah, bed frame all the time. That is like the number one thing I stub my toe on is the bed frame.
I always stub my toe in the corner coming out of the hallway, turning around into the living room. For some reason, I always cut the corner too soon. I lean into the corner like I'm a race car driver, and I end up just clipping the side of the baseboard with my little toe.
Gosh.
I do it at least twice a week.
You should really learn how to walk down a hallway.
Oh my gosh. All right. Welcome back to the Let's Quit podcast. This week we are going to be talking about how you cannot trip over the same thing twice.
Yes.
Metaphorically, because I haven't learned this lesson in the real world yet.
Yes, I still stub my toe on the bed frame almost every day.
Welcome to the Let's Quit podcast.
Quitting is not always a bad thing.
If you have the right mindset, quitting can be the most powerful tool you have on your journey to success. It's certainly been helpful for us.
Whether it's flying through hurricanes, building our businesses, or just trying to get to bed on time, we're always trying to level up and improve our lives.
This is the show where we share the lessons, experiences, and friends that have helped us live this incredible life. So let's quit the bad and grow the good together.
All right, so welcome back, guys. We're so happy to have you. If you're new, we talk about stubbing our toes all the time and other very important topics. No, I'm just kidding. We talk about real things, but we also like to keep it light. So thanks for joining us. And for the repeat...
We also don't keep it light.
Well, we like to keep it light in the beginning anyways.
There you go.
In the beginning, and then we get deep. Just wait. If you're new,
the
just
Mariana
wait.
Trench is where we spend most of our time.
Yep. We go deep and then we come back up for air every once in a while. So, we would love if you shared the show with somebody. If you like it,
if you think our deep dives on random topics are helpful to somebody else, we'd love for you to share the show with somebody else.
Yes.
So send it to them in a text message or however you see fit. We would also really appreciate a review of the podcast on the podcasting app of your choice. And nobody's listening to a word I say because we haven't seen a review in a very long time. So,
write us a review and leave us a fun note. Leave us something funny to read in the review. That's my favorite. When I see the rating and then I see something that's oh,
let us know your favorite
person.
comfort food in your review, and we'll know it came from this episode.
Yeah, your favorite comfort food.
We got to get stickers made
for the podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, that way we can mail stickers out to those who review the podcast.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
And especially for the people who support us on Patreon. If you want to support us monetarily, go to patreon.com/jennieanddavis, and pick a tier that works for you.
Maybe we'll have stickers for them too. Who knows?
Yes. We're making stickers. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, we'll write that on the to-do list.
Yes.
All right, cool. What's next?
Oh my gosh. So
I feel like it's been so long since we did a podcast. It's not been. It's just we've had a long week.
We have. So another one of the new things we're starting is we have this book called 3,000 Questions About Me.
Yeah, we forgot last time.
And we forgot last week. But what we want to do is we want to answer a question out of this book every week on the podcast.
Because it's an easy way to have 5 minutes of content for the podcast.
Well, that, and it's actually really fun. I don't think I could have written an entire book with just 3,000 questions. Yeah,
some are pretty specific. Some are pretty broad. Like today's is kind of broad.
Okay, because the last two have been super deep.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so question number 4 is what we're on.
Okay.
What is your greatest extravagance?
My greatest extravagance? The most extravagant thing I've done?
Sure. I think it's open-ended for a reason.
What is your greatest extravagance?
What do you treat yourself with that you think is just absurdly extravagant?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
What do you indulge in? Which kind of, I don't know why I'm reaching all the way back there to put the book away, but that's one of my personal values. I wrote that out about 5 or 6 years ago. I wrote out a little list of personal values, like Eric Thomas told me to. And
yes.
One of them is there's a line in 4-Hour Workweek where he talks about squeezing efficiency out of your business or your side hustle or whatever. And he's like, if it comes between, having an extra $50 in the bank account and having a really nice bottle of wine with your friends out on the town, I'd rather have the wine.
Yeah.
So that's my values. I just took that out of context, is have the wine. So I indulge in extravagances, not super often, not to an unhealthy degree, but I also don't, I try to enjoy life.
Mm-hmm.
What's the Ferris Bueller quote? if you don't stop and smell the roses, life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and smell the roses, you might miss it.
Or what is it? I don't even know if it's smell the roses. It's like life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around, it's going to pass you by or something like that.
We totally ruined one of the greatest movie quotes of all times.
I'm sorry, guys.
Anyway, but that's where that comes from. So I don't know.
Please don't rate me lower because of that.
Have I given you enough time to come up with something?
Yes. So my answer is I don't really have many extravagances. It's actually something I'm working on in my personal life, is to allow myself more extravagances, because I'm the type of person that's like, I will not buy this for myself unless it's on sale.
So what is
if
your
it's
extravagance?
Discounted. Right now, it's been my hair products. I'm really into like taking better care of my hair. And so I will literally buy like small bottles of shampoo that are like $28. And that sounds so obnoxious to me, because you get the shampoo and the conditioner, and that's like almost $60.
I know, but by you I don't mean to like pop your bubble, but like, because you keep buying small bottles, you're actually spending more money in the long run instead of just buying the big bottle.
Well, okay, this round I bought the small bottles because I tried something new and I didn't know if I'd like it or not. That makes sense. Next time I'm definitely buying the big bottles. That'll be my extra extravagance. But that's mine, as things like, I don't know, like self-care, I guess. Yeah.
I still don't have one for me. I have too many extravagances. I guess if I was to point one out, I would say like media equipment, electronics.
Yes, you do splurge on electronics, which makes sense though. You want them to work.
Yeah, I sort of adopt this mentality with tools in the business too. I mean, it makes financial sense for the business, but like personally, I don't like buying low quality things.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy using them. By the time that I get around to making a purchasing decision, I already know that I'm going to use I've probably waited too long to buy the thing that I'm thinking about buying. So buying a cheaper version for me just sounds like a waste of time. So I don't know, my tools, the things I use every day, they're very personal to me. And I really spend a lot of time and money and effort in trying to get the best thing that I possibly can if I'm going to be using it every day. So that comes with like media equipment.
Yep.
Speakers. No, I'd agree. Like I can't stand
that
listening.
Is your thing. You hate it when you hear like really bad audio.
Yeah.
Or you're like, this isn't mixed well. This isn't done well. These aren't good speakers. You hear how grainy and tinny that is? That's not good speakers.
Which then just makes you even more pretentious to everybody I'm in the room with. But, it's the little things in life.
Yeah.
So.
But also, like, on the plus side, we have really nice speakers in our house. So every time we watch a movie, it sounds pristine.
Yeah, I do not feel like I'm missing anything from the movie theater experience in our house, because we've got a pretty good sound system. Yeah. Of everything I bought from yard sales and like Goodwill and stuff like that, like our big receiver, it's usually, I don't know, it's a big 7-channel Yamaha receiver. It like supplies a ton of power to the speakers. So when you get into bigger home theater systems, you need a lot of power, and you need a magic box that takes the electricity from the wall, holds a bunch of it, and then gives as much as the speakers need to play a lot of sound.
Yeah.
And so usually those are $300-$400, but I found one at a Goodwill for like $35. I guess just nobody knew what it was.
I do remember
that. It was under a pile of old VCRs. I guess somebody thought it was an old VCR or something, but it was a really powerful amplifier receiver.
Every once in a while you find gems like that.
And then I was at an estate sale. I was coming home. I used to work at a golf course mowing the grass, and I was hot and smelly, and I don't know, it was a half day because it was on a Saturday. We got off work and I was driving home, and the golf course was sort of in a rich neighborhood in Arizona. Yeah. And I saw they were having an estate sale. So I just walked through and I saw that there was a huge home theater system, and they had these old Pioneer studio monitors as part of the sound system. And so, I mean, they're like waist high. I mean, they weren't like, I could go way down the rabbit hole of what type of speakers are best, but like they were really good speakers. And you can't buy speakers like that anymore. Or if you do, they're going to be thousands of dollars, because the only people that want speakers like that are the audiophiles that know,
what it is.
And so gone are the days of really nice stereo equipment at Radio Shack. Anyway, so I bought those, $25 for the pair. I think if you were to buy something equivalent these days, it'd be like $800-$900.
Wow.
So we're not usually advocates for saving money, but if you know what you're looking for, you can find the right thing sometimes.
Yep.
Anyway, so that's my biggest extravagance is I guess tech and audio equipment and stuff.
I hope one day I definitely want to upgrade my extravagances.
Yeah.
I hope 5 years from now, I'm like, oh yeah, my extravagance is, taking, whatever vacation every year instead of like, yeah, I bought myself a nice bottle of shampoo this month. That's pretty extravagant.
Oh, speaking of hair, I guess I've started taking my hair more seriously too.
Yeah, you have.
Because for the longest time I cut it myself. And then you go to like Great Clips or Sports Clips or whatever, and like I could do a better job than most of the people that work there. But anyway, I just recently splurged on a nice membership to a men's salon, and man, it's just night and day, the difference.
It is. I will say I spend money on my haircuts too. Like they're expensive. I don't even care.
Well, yours, you only get what, 2 or 3 a year?
I probably get a haircut once every like 2.5, every 3 months probably.
Okay. So, but not too bad.
Yeah. I mean, that's like, I 100% agree with you. It's night and day. When you pay, a Great Clips price for a haircut, you get the Great Clips haircut. So.
Yeah. So anyway, cool. So that's our extravagances as of 2022.
As of 2022. So, okay. What else? What did we do this week? We'll get into our weekly update.
First, can we just talk about how tired we are?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It has been a week.
Oh, well, you've been back now for about a week. You finally caught up.
Yes, I finally feel caught up.
But we had so much work to do that even catching up, we still had a mountain of stuff to accomplish. And so, we've been here at the studio the last 4 or 5 nights, not in a row, but like every other night or so. We've been here till 10:30, 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
The poor dog, he gets so tired. And we play with him and stuff, but
we have to we pack in his toys, we pack in the bed, we have a separate entire bag of food here for the dog. We've got leashes, and we pack ourselves lunch and dinner, and we've got a stocked fridge because we've been spending the hours here.
Yeah. All because we are trying to finish our first of our newest round of programs. Yeah. So if you didn't know, we haven't talked about it on YouTube in forever, but we make sales and marketing programs. So if you run a business or you want to run a maker business out of your house, we have programs that step you through exactly what to do. And the most recent round was from a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. It was it was right when we moved to Houston. Mm-hmm. So it was sort of like everything we learned in North Dakota and how we were going to start our business here in Houston. Well, now that we've started our business here in Houston a second time, not only did we learn that what we already knew worked really well, we also learned a ton of new information. So we wanted a place to add that. Mm-hmm. And we felt like the best way to do that is to just completely revamp the programs, rebuild them from the bottom up. And we've also been working on new branding, we've filed for some trademarks, for some logos and stuff. We're doing it for real this time.
Yes. Because we wanted to get serious because the programs we have currently on our website, they're good, and all the information is accurate from what we went through starting and running our business in North Dakota. But this time around, we're like, man, having done it a second time, it really solidifies a lot of the things that you believed before. But we've got so many new things to add on to the programs that exist now. We're like, I want to do this right. I want to spend some time.
Well, not only that, but the programs have helped a lot of people, but they haven't helped as many people as they could.
Yes.
I think because this might just be my perception. I think because they're a couple of years old, people think they're outdated, which there's something to be said for that. And again, all the extra stuff we've learned in the last year or two isn't in there. So we're trying to take it seriously this time because in the past, and this is sort of the impetus for the whole title of the podcast today, is we almost tripped over the same thing twice or for a third time, because in the past when we've made these programs, we've just sort of lobbed them out on YouTube. We maybe have mentioned them. And when we're in the Instagram DMs, we refer a lot of people to the programs, and they sell and they help quite a few people, but nowhere near to the extent that we could be helping people. So the whole goal of revamping it this time is to try and reach more people.
Because this is a program that's all encompassing. It is about how to start your business selling what you make, from having, no business, not knowing what to sell, not even having a product, no business name, nothing, to a business owner who is legitimate, has a name, has products, has made sales.
But it's also such a structured program with so much information that even if you've made a few sales before, going through the program will get you, it will iron out all the wrinkles that you may have in your business. You can cut out some bad habits. You can go back and fix parts of your business that aren't working. So if you're somebody you've sold a few things before, but you've you've sort of dropped off or you've lost motivation, this program will really help get you back on track.
Yes.
You could capitalize on the things you've already done and get through it a little quicker.
Or maybe go back and kind of reevaluate the things you've been doing, how you've been making sales, and maybe there's an easier way to do it.
Yeah. But anyway, we're not trying to push the programs. It's just that's what we've been trying to work on, giving it a better user experience for the students. So, but yeah, that's just taken a lot of time because we have to do the YouTube channel, we have to do the podcast, we have to do all of our TikTok stuff, our Instagram stuff. We've got to manage Caleb and him, and we've got to get the sales for Samara.
And the other,
I
was about to say the whole other business.
We're selling cutting boards and charcuterie boards,
and then we're traveling with the Air Force, and
then we're doing Air Force stuff, and we just got a big kitchen table job, which I guess is the next thing. So you want to talk about that for a minute?
Yeah. So we just got our very first kitchen table job in our business, which is super exciting because I feel like you hear us talk about our cutting and charcuterie boards all the time. Like that's what we do. I feel like now, we've been known as like the business people on YouTube, but now we're known as like the cutting board business people on YouTube, which is great. But like the boards are just a means to an end to be able to advertise to people about the tables.
Yeah.
And so we've been going so full throttle on the boards that now somebody actually wanted a kitchen table, and we're like, okay.
We're not ready for it, but we're never going to be ready for it. Like, it was kind of crazy. We talked about it in the YouTube video this week, but like we were not expecting this kitchen table job this soon, but we're like, well, boards are rolling along just fine.
Yeah.
Like our goal for this year is to make the cutting board business side of the business sort of run itself, hire some employees, get some salespeople in. That way we can focus on developing the kitchen tables. But we're at a spot right now where cutting boards aren't overwhelming us. It would be really nice to have the money from a kitchen table job, honestly. And
we've streamlined the system for the boards so well that it's like, it still takes work to fulfill them all. But it's doable.
It's manageable, and
with another project on the side.
Right. So at this point, we're just following the money, and if we got the time and the money to do it, we might as well do it. But so because all of that is going on, and you've even been selling more cutting boards this week.
Yes.
We are tired.
Yeah.
So we got a couple days scheduled to take off. So all of you that are concerned about us, thank you. We appreciate you, but we do schedule time off and everything.
Yes.
But
once this program launches, we're going to take a couple of days off.
Yeah. So
we managed to take like 3/4 of a day off a while ago.
Yeah.
And it was nice.
Yeah. But just try to pace ourselves and do the best with what we've got, and not trip over the same thing twice. I don't want to fumble, because in the past I'm like spoiling the title topic, but like
we always do that.
I know.
It's okay.
in the past, it's just because we do such a great job with transitions and scripting out the podcast. Anyway, I'll quit patting myself on the back. We've fumbled the launch of the programs. We've just tossed it out on YouTube and not done any sales, any marketing. We've done no promotions. We've not partnered with any other YouTubers. We've not tried to sponsor anybody's podcast to get the word out about the programs. We've just sort of lobbed it out to our audience. But the only reason we haven't done any sales is because we thought, we'll get around to it. I'm just tired. We finished the program, and it's a lot of work to make those programs, and we just didn't spend the time that we needed to on the sales and marketing side. So this time we're scheduling time to consciously think about a marketing and sales strategy, not so that we make the most money, but so that we reach the most people. And because there's half a dozen YouTube channels now basically teaching the same stuff that we teach, and they're all thriving. So there's plenty of demand for this information.
Right. And we just want to make sure we're getting it out to as many people who need it. By us not advertising well, it means we are like robbing people of an opportunity to see this information, and we are just not okay with that.
Yeah. So anyway, so let's just jump right into the title topic then. We don't have a quote, so sorry. Whoops, we failed. And we remember the book, though. We forgot the quote and the book last week.
Right.
So,
hey.
doing better than last week.
We didn't trip over one thing. We didn't stub our toe on the bed frame, but we definitely stubbed our toe on the wall coming around the hallway.
All right, so what the heck do we mean with this title? Quit tripping over the same thing twice.
Basically, you should be able to identify things that you do wrong repeatedly and start to create methods for you to start doing them right more times than you do.
Those are very abstract.
For me, If I
explanation.
I stub my toe on the bed frame all the time. So like, what am I going to do what am I going to do to stop that? What am I going to do to change it? I could say, oh, well, I'll just pay better attention next time. I'll just be more careful. But that's not going to do anything. Like, what do I physically need to do for myself to stop doing that?
So when you start taking responsibility for the fact that this is a problem, you got to start putting up things that will cause you to do things differently. Because, what actually happens? It's not that you're trying to kick the bed frame. Like, that's not the problem. The problem is that you're doing something else, not paying attention, and you kick the bed frame. Okay, so can we change that habit? Whenever you're getting ready for bed or waking up in the morning, can you change your routine so that you don't end up kicking the bed? So why do you stub your toe? It's because you're putting something on the bed, right? Or your nightstand or whatever.
Like, I'm folding laundry on the bed or whatever, and then I end up kicking it constantly.
Right. So is there another place you could do laundry?
100%.
Could we set up a table or something in the bedroom or a bench?
And you know what the funniest part is? I always fold laundry on one side of the bed, but if I would just fold it at the foot of the bed instead, all of a sudden the bar I constantly stub my toe on is gone. But I'm so in my routine and out of it half the time. I'm listening to music or doing a podcast or whatever while I'm folding laundry, because I hate folding laundry. That's for a different podcast. But I'm distracted.
Yeah. And it might not seem like a big deal, okay, you stubbed your toe, but big deal. But when you start running a business or when you start trying to achieve your goal or quit your job or whatever it is that you're trying to do, those little things start to add up. Mm-hmm. And so we can use and abuse our daily routines to try and teach us how to catch on to these new patterns of thinking. Because if you still stub your toe on the bed, you're not going to be able to identify stubbing your toe metaphorically in your job.
Right. You have to get your brain used to actually fixing your problems.
Right.
Like for us not marketing these programs. We did that 2 times in a row. And now we're oh my gosh, we've got to stop because we need to reach more people. And so now we are writing checklists for how we produce and publish programs.
Right. But had we not written checklists for our daily routines at home, for meal prepping, for burning our finger on the stove, had we not declared that we were never going to trip over the same thing twice in our household, our brains would not have been awake, I guess, to see that we were stubbing our toe on these programs.
Right.
Am I making any amount of sense?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, even our checklists in business, I feel engraving boards and just being open to the fact of hey, I need to put in the work to stop myself from making mistakes.
Yeah.
Once you're used to that and you're aware of that, then you're open to doing it in so many other areas of life.
Right. So it's not that we care about you stubbing your toe on the bed, but that's an easy area that you can learn how to do this process and get experience with it. That way, when you go to your job and you try to quit stubbing your toe, let's say you keep forgetting to respond to customer emails or something, that's something on your checklist that you should have, but you completely skip every week. Your business can be better because you've trained yourself to do this process that we're going to cover in just a minute about how to actually solve a stub your toe type problem. So I think we've talked about the problem enough. We've talked about the programs and how we always just threw them out on YouTube. And that was us stubbing our toe, is we would just lob them out there. We were tired. We didn't want to do the sales. So we just lobbed them out to YouTube, didn't take responsibility for the sales process. And as a result, we haven't reached as many people, or not as many people have seen the programs as they would help.
Yep.
So how are we going to fix that this time with the programs?
So for us, we basically did a root cause analysis or whatever. I know that's a super formal,
we'll
businessy, whatever term. Basically it's when you make a mistake, figure out what made you make that mistake. Don't just say oh yeah, I guess I just won't do that again.
Right.
Next
But
time.
how are we solving the program specifically? What are we doing to stop stubbing our toe for the programs?
Yeah, that for us is definitely writing the checklist and holding ourselves accountable so that we don't do it again. It's hey, if you ever want to put out another program, you have to follow this checklist. You don't get to just lob them out anymore.
So we also decided to take a week between when we finish the program and when we launch the program to spend time formulating a strategy, coming up with ideas. That's sort of what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
And we're just sort of taking responsibility for that and slowing the process down because, and we'll talk about this process that Jennie was getting into, but we were just tired. We identified that the reason we didn't do any sales and marketing is because we were tired.
Mm-hmm. We tried to do everything at once.
Right. And so if we slow the process down, if we add time to the schedule, then all of a sudden it's not something that we don't want to do anymore. It's just part of building a program. And so we can have the best to-do list in the world, but if we're too tired to execute on it, we're never going to get any of it done. So that was the root cause of why we never marketed the programs very well. So we just added more time to the schedule, and looky there. Now we've got time to do what we wanted to do all along. So now, Jennie, you can jump into the root cause analysis structure. So this whole thing has a name, this process of eliminating stub your toe type incidents. It's called doing a root cause analysis. Take it away, Jennie.
Well, I feel like we've kind of discussed it already, but it's basically, you're like, what one thing could I have done better to prevent the mistake?
Right. So you list out everything that happened. The first step is reconstruction, right? This is sort of the debrief process. If you've ever flown on aircrew or whatever in the military, like the first thing you do when you get back from your flight is you recreate the entire experience from start to finish. And you say, all right, what do we do good here? What do we do bad here? And you just recreate the entire experience. A whiteboard really helps here. And then you go step by step and you say, okay, there were no problems in this part of the flight. There were no problems once we took off. And then once we got to altitude, then, that's when things started to go wrong. And air traffic controller wasn't being clear about what they said. And so we didn't hear them. And it was our fault because we didn't ask. And that's why we had the incident that we had, or blah, blah, in this fake example. So, that's basically what you do with your life. You stub your toe so many times and you realize, okay, why am I stubbing my toe? What keeps happening? Yeah, I know I'm not paying attention and kicking in the bed, but why does this happen the same way every single time? And that becomes your root cause. Like Jennie said, what is the one action you could have taken or not taken that would have avoided the entire scenario? And for Jennie, folding clothes, it would be fold clothes at the end of the bed instead of the side of the bed, right? And so that's the process there. And you have to develop an external solution. You want to talk about why it needs to be something like physical instead of just, I'll do better next time.
You forget. Your brain is literally designed to hold information for a little while and then dump it. So if it's just something you hold in your head that's like, oh yeah, I guess I'll try to remember next time to do this differently. I guarantee you, you're going to forget at least 60% of the time. So it has to be something that's outside of your head in the external world that you can see, that you can hear, that you can smell, that you can taste, whatever, to get you to change your process.
Yeah. Sometimes it needs some brute force. The analogy of using the bumpers at the bowling alley. What's one way to guarantee you'll never get a gutter ball?
Just put big chunks of rubber in the gutters so your ball physically cannot go there.
Right. You turn the bumpers on and all of a sudden now you can't, it's embarrassing, but how bad do you want to hit the pins? If you're trying to accomplish a big goal or something like that, you can't really worry about how you get it done. You just want to be focused on your goal and get it done. And so, for us, I was getting in a lot of trouble because I wasn't wearing safety glasses when I was using the tools. That's a whole other podcast. But, I finally decided, look, I want to be a good example for the employees that come work for us. I want to be wearing safety glasses. So I just decided that I was going to be the kind of person that wore safety glasses. And when I was and I did a root cause analysis and I looked at why I wasn't wearing safety glasses. And
I'm just going to take a guess because they were all the way on the other side of the shop and they were hung up on that tool wall, behind. I'm talking about our old shop in our garage. And it was so hard to reach that tool wall because you had to reach over the table saw and then over the workbench. And then you'd trip over the boxes that were in front.
Or the 2 extension cords.
Yeah. And so it's to some extent you're like, well, I'm either going to trip and die over these extension cords or I'm going to get wood in my eye. Which one do I want?
Yeah. And as silly as it sounds, literally walking across to the other side of the room is a problem. We're lazy humans and you can either get mad about that or you can try to work with that. And so what I did is, knowing the lazy sucker that I am, I bought a box of 25 or 30 pairs of safety glasses, and I put a pair of safety glasses on every single power tool we have. And every tool has a set of safety glasses right next to it. And I bought the really nice expensive, getting back to audio equipment, I bought the really nice expensive isotunes, headphones or whatever, to force me to use hearing protection because I don't want to be deaf like my poor dad.
Oh,
sorry, Dad. But I don't want to. you have to sometimes brute force your way into solving these problems. Just understand, yes, I'm a stupid animal. You have to train yourself like a dog, as embarrassing as that is. But that's what you got to do sometimes to take care of business. So, you want to hit the action steps?
Yeah. So action steps for all of this.
This week.
First off, is to use root cause analysis on the last time you were late for something. Like, get really honest with why it happened, and you're not allowed to blame anyone but yourself. Like why? If you were late to work or were late to church or late to school or whatever, figure out why was it? Was it because you spilled coffee on yourself and then you had to change shirts and get out the door? Because maybe you need to, figure out a way to fix your cup holders so you're not spilling on yourself on the way to work.
Or buy an automatic coffee maker where you don't have to, spill coffee grounds all over your shirt or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, figure out what happened and just say, look, if this is like, don't ever trip over it twice. Don't let it ever happen again.
Or maybe you can never find your shoes in the morning because you let them lay around in 5 different rooms. Maybe you just get a shoe rack so all of your shoes are right next to the door.
Boy,
that one's not fueled by anything in my personal life.
We might need to take our own advice there. And then another action step this week is identify where you could use some brute force to keep you from hurting yourself, whether that's buying a new coffee maker or a shoe rack, or just go spend the $20 at Walmart to get the rack or the table or whatever you need to put your stuff away and have an organized place for it. That way you don't ever trip over it again. Mm-hmm. If it's an extension cord, maybe call an electrician and actually have an electrician come out and put a plug in the wall where you need one instead of tripping over an extension cord all the time.
Yes.
Might cost you a little bit of money up front, but you'll have your pride and your dignity and you'll be a better person because of it. And with that, this has been episode 57 of the Let's Quit podcast.
Yes.
Thanks so much for listening. Please leave us a review.
Share the show. And check out the video where we drop our brand new programs if you are at all interested.
Yeah, maybe it's out this week. Maybe it's not. I don't know.
Just keep updated on the videos. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Watch the videos.
Go watch another. I'm sure there's one on there you haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
So anyway, have a good one, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.